Georgia grandmother claims a state agency broke its promise to fix a dangerous stretch of roadway that killed nearly every single person in her family. In 2016, Tina Butler and her two children died in Miller County when their vehicle hydroplaned on a state road because of poor drainage. The state said it would fix that roadway. Reveal investigator Andy Parati uncovered 4.5 years later, nothing has changed.
And this is the way they came, going home, the way we're going now.
Melanie Stevenson takes us on a drive she's dreading to make. To the exact spot in Miller County, Georgia that changed her life.
That truck went off right in here.
It wasn't her inside the SUV, it was her daughter and two grandchildren. It happened on April 2nd, 2016. On Highway 91.
Accident 16-22.
This is video recorded by a state investigator showing what the road looks like when it's dry. But on the day of the crash, it rained a lot. And Melanie's daughter's fiance, who was driving and not familiar with the area, did not see water on the road when he tried to pass a vehicle ahead of him.
Vehicle hydroplaned.
Inside the Lincoln Navigator, Zaya, a second grader who loved to read, Mo, who just turned 1, and their mother, Tina, a nurse. All three did not survive.
And the last words I remember, she looked at me and she held out and she said, "Mama, help me."
Nearby residents had complained about the draining for years, including Mary White, who lives about a football field away. Prior to the accident, you called DOT complaining.
Yes, I used to call all the time. I didn't get no help.
Last year, the family settled the lawsuit for $2.5 million, one of the state's largest payouts ever. And the family wanted something else. As part of the settlement, they asked the state to promise to fix the road. According to the family, the state said it would, or so they thought. Since the accident, has anything changed?
No.
It's still flooding.
Yeah, see?
Georgia DOT declined interview requests for this story. Instead, an agency spokesperson emailed the Reveal to say, since 2019, GDOT has been active in a multi-part study evaluating this stretch of State Road 91 with the ultimate goal of identifying alternatives to reduce sporadic flooding at this location. In the meantime, it uses water over road signage to alert motorists of inclement conditions, just as it did in 2016 when rain dumped 6 inches of water on the road the day of the crash. If you could say anything to DOT, what would you say to them?
I would tell the DOT, if y'all will, please fix this problem. Because I don't want this to happen to somebody else. If not do it for me, do it for my kids.
State records show since 2015, claims against the agency have nearly doubled, costing taxpayers $12 million. Georgia DOT points out, though, that of the 4,500 claims filed against it over the past few years, 75% were rejected because they had no merit.